Welcome to Celebrity Catwalk. I'm your host, Stephanie Mattera. Today I have a blast from my past. Her name is Milene Jardine, and she is an entrepreneur, an inspiring person, and I am so glad that I know her so well and get to share her with all of you today. So here she is to tell us more about her brand and her path of life story. Milene, thanks for coming. We love having you here.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. You look exactly the same. You haven't aged a bit. So just for all of our viewers, it's the chocolate keeps you young. I've heard. I'm going to eat this whole box.
Good.
So before we get to chocolate, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, how we met and, how your network over the course of your career just really helps you, right? So we began our careers at Macy's Merchandising Group in fashion, right? 7th Avenue, also known as Fashion Ave. Yeah. It was a dream. I know it was for you, it was for me. And you ended up, I remember I was a product development trainee, so I was new and I was in the training program, and it was my first corporate job in New York. And you were, I think, a step or two ahead of me already. And then I remember you getting promoted like very young. Like you were a director by what age?
I think 30. I was a director by 30.
I think that's young.
Yeah.
So how many steps did you do? You did product development assistant?
I did 9 steps.
9 steps. Okay, what were they?
So we kind of internship. I interned.
Okay.
Then I was a product assistant.
Okay.
Then I was a brand specialist.
Okay.
Then an associate product manager.
Oh, wow.
And then I was a product manager over three times for like 3 separate areas.
Wow.
And then a senior product manager.
Okay.
And then a product director.
Incredible. Now this was all in men's, correct?
All in men's.
And what were your product categories?
They varied, so I got to do everything within men's. So from shoes, neckwear, accessories, jeans, sweaters, t-shirts, and then when I ended, I was in tailored clothing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I've seen it all.
So I was product development assistant. I did the training program in men's shoes. And so I got to go to the big shoe week they do in New York. And then I went into men's dress shirts. And I never thought I'd know so much about weaves and what's a dobby and all the patterns. But the fun part was we get to work with designers, overseas offices. And I remember doing the fittings with our fit model, Carlos. And
Gary.
Gary was your fit model. Carlos is quite cute if he's watching, but but you left about 4 years ago to start your own business. So I just wanted to talk to our viewers a little bit about, what was it like to take that step? Because there are a lot of people who are in corporate settings or structured settings, and they want to go into maybe their own business, but it could be daunting. They don't know where to get started. So how did you start?
It was scary.
Yeah.
So I got a little push. So I was laid off.
Okay.
Which led to some emotions I never felt before.
Right.
I was self-conscious. I just started to doubt myself, and I had put so much into working for them that I was like, I don't want to put that much into working for somebody else. Right. So it gave me enough courage, that transition, to say, you know what, I want to start my own brand.
Wow. See, for me, I think that's an important thing for all of our viewers to hear, because a lot of people do find themselves in circumstances where they're laid off, their job could be eliminated. We're hearing about automation and jobs going to robots. When I'm in Stop and Shop, Marty goes by me now when I'm cleaning spills in aisle 7. But, in all seriousness, that has true tangible impacts on people's lives. And I think being able to reinvent yourself or draw from your skill sets, right? So it's not a complete reinvention, but it's maybe a pivot. And you were in product development, so you understood packaging, you understood sourcing, actually bringing a product from, its infancy to fruition. So how did you take all of those skills and bring it into Milene Jardine chocolate?
Yeah, well, first thing I did was I hired a business coach.
Okay.
Just to help me transition from going into the same building every day, having a set structure, to then creating my own structure.
Okay.
So you have to get in the right mindset.
Yes.
So that was the first thing that I did. And then I just kept finding advisors and just people to counsel me. So I went and found a kitchen. I used to audit factories all over the world. So I was like, okay, which kitchen's going to be the right kitchen for me? So I started to source my kitchen. Then I sourced which chocolate quality I wanted to use. Just like I used to source different fabrics, I look at the different chocolates that I wanted to make.
Right.
I created the recipes on my own. So I always used to bake as a kid too. So it's not it wasn't completely new. So I created the recipes myself, made sure I got the right equipment. For packaging, I went straight to a factory in China and designed it and then imported it myself because, again, that's what I used to do when I worked at Macy's. So I just
Did you
took
use
all that skill
any of the
set.
same vendors you've had in your portfolio, or did you have to source completely new vendors?
All new. 'Cause it's different, like the
different.
packaging versus the garments.
Yeah.
But it was just like I had been in so many different product areas, and I was like, okay, you did a shoe, you did a belt, you did a jacket, now you're just doing chocolate.
Right, the system is the
So,
same. It's the execution that might be different, but having that systematic approach or process, I think, is what carries you through. You told me, because I was admiring the beautiful cherry blossom that's embossed on your jacket, on your culinary jacket, along with your name. What was the story behind that? Because you said it was a really beautiful story.
Oh, well, so when I first got laid off, I was a little upset, and I went over to...
Naturally.
A little bit. It was 12 years. 13 if you count the internship.
Right, it's an investment.
Yeah, so I went over to Japan.
Okay.
And I have a meditation teacher, and he told me to, take something with me that used to have meaning that doesn't anymore. So I took my old business card. Like, I could get a lot of things done with that product director, Macy's star business card. People would just listen to you because you had that star, that company behind you.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what, I don't have this anymore. So when I was traveling, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I buried my business card under a cherry blossom tree.
You did. I love that
did.
symbolism.
And just to kind of like let it go and, put it back to the earth and just try to heal from the situation. So when I came back home and I started to think, what do I want to do? And my business coach was like, start to put together a vision board. And I kept putting cherry blossoms on my vision board. And I was like, I planted a seed just to recreate.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm going to have to ask you off air about your meditation coach, because I would love.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Love to do some of that. I think, mindfulness is something that's really top of mind now. And, there's a quote that says, God whispers and the world is loud. Yes. So I think when you meditate, you're really connected, whether you believe in God or higher power, universe, angels, whatever it is, right? Because everybody's different. But, you're more in tune. You're stopping to hear it, and not all the human voices maybe that are around you, or your own self, your own voice, that the negative one though, the one that talks you out of taking a risk, out of, oh, you're not ready, you can't do this. And instead you hear the one that is innately tuned with who you were designed to be, which you knew as a kid you liked cooking, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. Very exciting. So I have some products here with me. This one you said, they're all dark chocolate with different herbs, but could you walk our viewers through like what I'm holding?
Sure. So that is the International Chocolate Bar Library.
Ooh.
So it's infused with real fruits, nuts, herbs, and spices.
Okay.
I believe in plant-based wellness.
Okay,
so
good.
Infusing these bars, like the first one is just a plain dark chocolate.
Okay.
South American dark with beans from Peru and Ecuador.
Wow.
It's a very high cocoa butter content, so it melts in your mouth fast. Sometimes people are afraid of dark chocolate because they feel like it's chalky, but when you elevate the cocoa butter levels, it makes it really rich, like a milk chocolate. But it's better for you because it's just cacao. It's more cacao in it. So that first one is just a plain dark.
Okay.
Then we have a savory rosemary.
Oh, wow.
So there's real rosemary that's tempered throughout the chocolate when you're making the bar.
Okay.
So every piece, is an equally flavored with the rosemary. And then we have Sicilian salted lemon.
Oh, for the Italians like me.
Wait, that's the rosemary.
Yep, and then the Sicilian.
So I know Giuseppe. He's the gentleman who gives me the lemons. Yes. He's straight from Sicily. He gives me the lemons. And also the sea salt is also from Sicily. So it gives you that little bit of a citrus burst. And the salt just kind of helps to open it up.
Okay.
So it pairs really well. They all pair well with cheeses and wines, but that one especially, like a goat cheese, Sancerre white wine. You'll be happy.
I definitely like the wine.
Yeah. And then toasted coconut and kaffir lime leaf. So that has a little bit more of a Southeast Asian feel to it.
Okay.
Yeah, they all also tell stories about different countries. The vision is to celebrate diversity through chocolate.
I love that.
Because it's all cultures, we all eat. That's kind of what all connects us.
Food and music, and there's art and all of those kind of things, I feel like. Yes, they do. They're intercultural.
So when you learn a little bit about a culture, you tend to be more open-minded about it.
Yes.
So
through food. It's a conversation piece.
Yes, and then raw pistachio. Because no one does pistachio really in chocolate. It's hard to find.
This is the one that was calling my name, which I'm probably going to munch on air.
You should.
But I wanted to ask you, you're talking about the cultural part, which I find fascinating, but also the individual stories. So, you know, you talked about Giuseppe from Sicily. Are any of the other ones, you know, are there individuals tied to the inspiration behind each bar, or just that one in particular, or?
It varies.
It varies.
Some are based on like the essence I get from traveling to the place.
Okay.
Because again, at Macy's, I used to travel a lot.
Yes.
So I would go to factories overseas. I'd go to Europe for trend, and I always just loved traveling in general.
Okay.
So I kind of found a profession that kind of fed me that. Fed that travel bug that I always had. So the Sicilian salted lemon, specifically a person. In the truffles, like I have a goddess flavor that's hibiscus mint, and that's tied to a specific person. So hibiscus is the tea of the gods. Every time you go to the pyramids, you'll get fresh hibiscus.
Okay.
And then the black tea is always grounded in fresh mint.
Wow.
And when I went there, I learned about all the female pharaohs, like Hatshepsut, Cleopatra, and the CEO of the factory I worked with in the heart of Cairo was a woman. So I decided to name the flavor Goddess.
I love that.
To kind of show that, you know, there is a lot of diversity and women are empowered, even in these countries where if you watch the news, you wouldn't hear that. But sometimes you have to like be on the ground and see it. And that's what traveling does. It kind of opens you up to beauty that you don't always get to see.
I 100% agree. I am a professor and I teach at a very global university, and that has exposed me to a lot of different cultures, which is great. And I've traveled a little bit. I've been to Hiroshima and Tokyo and Japan. And I just was in London recently, and I have a trip to Italy planned for the summer. So I do travel, but I think, you know, like you said, if you actually see the cultures up close, a lot of those stories get drowned out. It's just the high level global story and not those like hyper local stories. So it's beautiful that your brand not only can inspire others and lift you up, but also can lift up the people that are a part of your story as well. You mentioned the woman from Egypt being a CEO, and something a lot of people probably don't know about you because you wear so many different hats.
I do.
You're involved in a lot of women's groups and empowering women. So can you talk a little bit about that WIN Summit that is a partnership between Columbia University and the Negotiation Institute?
Yeah, so my friend Daniela, she runs it, and we're putting together a summit in May. It's the 5th summit that they're having, and I'm getting involved in branding, sales, tickets. And what it is it's to help women train them to negotiate. Because just innately women want to be 110% prepared, and we're often afraid to ask for what we want. And we need to start to change that. So it starts with building a community, it starts with educating, and that's really what that summit is about. It's about bringing these women together to really just teach and educate them and give them the confidence that, you know, they can ask for what they want. Because we have a long way to go for gender parity, so I want to help in as many ways as I can, because it helps me, it helps all the women around us. We all we have to do it together. It's a collective.
100%. I feel like in life, at least my experiences, you know, academically, professionally, there were things I learned that helped cultivate me into who I am, but the one thing I never really felt like anyone prepared me for was negotiations. And I have sold myself short at different times. And, you know, you want people to do the right thing. They should do the right thing, but they don't always do the right thing. If it's not legislated, right? And they don't have that ethical code, and if they can steal you, as I like to say, people want to Prada bag for a TJ Maxx price, they're going to do it with a person, and the most people will do that. So I think it's important to teach us skill sets as women, because, not to generalize, but I think men are taught that they can, you know, taught and think that they can do that, and it's something not maybe innately taught to us through our experiences as women. So when we can come together, kind of say, okay, we're going to change that narrative. Here are some tactical approaches for doing that. You know, I think that's really positive. And Columbia University is a great school. The Negotiation Institute, I had not heard of before. Do you know much about it?
Well, the founder of the whole WIN Summit is actually a man.
Well, good for him, and we need men at the table to help us.
So he was taking classes at the Negotiation Institute, Jack, and he realized that there were so few women there, and he was like, you know what, I want to change this. So he started the WIN Summit, and then my friend Danielle took over. and has been running that. He's still involved, but she's more the executive producer behind it all.
That's incredible. And I do always say that to people, you know, because sometimes it becomes an us versus them. And if we don't have buy-in from all groups, how do you move the needle on the issue? And there's still gender parity even in roles, right? So in public relations, for instance, which had been my specialty for a long time, you know, it's like 90% of women are holding those jobs in communications, but the top jobs are held by men. So if you're trying to move the needle on pay and responsibility and leadership pipeline and all of that, you have to get buy-in from the people that have the power now. And it shouldn't be adversarial, it should be like collaborative, right?
Yes.
So you've had some great speakers. I was looking at the website, and I know like Kathy Black, the former CEO of Hearst Magazines, the big conglomerate, media conglomerate. But you've had other speakers too, like women from the military and
all facets, because it's not just one area of life, it's all of them. Like we have our keynote this year is Beth Comstock she was an executive at GE.
Wow.
So all different facets of business. And because I've had the chance to read it myself, I meet a lot of different businessmen and women. It's a similar complaint that it's hard for women to get ahead in the culinary world, in finance, in fashion. When you get to a certain level, it tends to be run more by men.
It is. It's tough because you're trying to change a generational pattern and trend that has existed, I mean, thousands of years actually.
It's changing the blueprint that we are kind of coded with, and that takes time and work.
Absolutely. So in addition to WIN, you've also been involved with these other organizations where women are coming together to kind of maybe share skill sets or share networks to help amplify their impact through their businesses. So can you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. I'm part of Philly.
Okay.
So it means tribe in Greek.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. So the two founders, Jacqueline Brennan and Summer, they wanted to bring together, it's New York City's first executive mastermind for women.
Wow.
So there's 12 of us. We meet once a month. We have roundtables where there's someone there to kind of speak us through how to improve, whether it be personally, professionally. Just this week we were at the Well. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Nice. Okay.
So there was a nutritionist coach just sharing insights with, what you feed yourself with and kind of how the effects that it has.
Yes.
And we do different workout classes together. We were at Y7, the yoga studio, earlier in the month. So it's building like a camaraderie. And at the end of each session, there's always like a give and give. So it's saying, I need help with X. How can,
I love that.
do you know anyone you can connect me with? And they've been such great partners with me. So
I love that you talked about that, because I've also found, just in my experience, and even younger people that I'll mentor that are my students, you can't always go to someone with an ask.
Right.
You have to come sometimes with a value exchange.
Right.
And I don't mean quid pro quo or anything, in that sense, but coming and saying, this is what I'm good at, this is what I can do, instead of, I need a job, I need a reference, I need this. Well, you have to come with something to offer, and people are very busy, and people also had their journeys, and they might not have had it easy where they look. Like where they are now in their ivory tower, that they had it easy, but they've had a lot of stress to get to that level, and they're busy. And so how are you going to stand out and show someone, I want some of your time, but this is what I could offer too. And I think that's really important. And I love that you close out those meetings with those exchanges. Because compassion fatigue is a real thing. If you keep getting asks and no offers, it's like...
Well, and it's just having the camaraderie too and support. Sometimes it's just like, I need someone to hold me accountable to take better care of myself. Because at the root of when you're ambitious and you're working a lot, self-care tends to be the first thing that dips sometimes. So it's making sure that we are all kind of elevating ourselves. Because when you do, and you vibrate at a higher frequency, you get better results. So it's just reminding.
Can't pour from an empty cup. And so I love, you do meditation, you talk about overall wellness, good food, sourced responsibly and made responsibly. So that holistic approach, I feel like, is really good. So let's take a quick break. Sorry, everyone. This chocolate is like calling my name, so I have to. Do you want to try one of your truffles? I know you know what they taste like.
Well, I'll show everyone the truffles.
I'm unwrapping. This is the pistachio one. I love nuts and this is vegan for all my vegan friends. I'm not breaking my rules.
Yeah. And there's all the pistachio on the back of the bar. So it's dressed, it's pretty.
This is really good. I wish I had a cup of coffee to go with it. So delicious. Now, what is the retail value on this? What did you call it again? A book or?
That's the International Library.
Oh, the library.
The
okay.
library,
I love
yes.
it. And how much would this retail for?
So depending on the retailer, it goes between 35 and 40.
That's nice. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And can you buy it right from your website?
Yes. So
Wonderful.
there's the website. It's my name, Milene Jardine. So MileneJardine.com.
Beautiful French name. I love the packaging too. And then you have the cherry blossom right there, the embossed. This is a beautiful gift to give. I mean, it's thoughtful. If you're not like me and you don't eat everything in one sitting, you could probably, this would last you probably a month, right?
It is rich so that you don't have to eat a lot of it. Like, it's intentionally small. Even the truffles, they're intentionally, it's smaller in a box, but they're very rich and indulgent where you don't have to have a ton of them. There's like those bars, there's less than 8 grams of sugar a bar. 'Cause when you use high quality ingredients, you don't need a lot of sugar. And that's the point behind it, to kind of reprogram what you think, being indulgent is. It doesn't have to be a lot of sugar and something that's bad for you.
Right, exactly. And sugar will make you want more sugar.
Right.
It's very addictive. So this is not, you're probably not going to want to go back and finish the whole bar. You might be satisfied with half of it, maybe in a sitting. Walk us through the flavors that you have.
Sure. So these are the truffles. So the first one is called Tradition.
Okay.
And it's orange and Galliano liqueur, so it has those citrus notes.
Oh my gosh.
Then there's a ginger turmeric black pepper, so a little bit of a spice. And it's called Sanctuary. Then there's that goddess one I was talking about before. So that's the hibiscus mint, and that's hibiscus powder that's decorated on top of it. I don't believe in like artificial flavors or colors that are added to it. I like using fresh ingredients.
Good.
And then the next one is a dark chocolate. So that's cocoa powder that's dusted on top. And it is inspired by the French.
Ooh.
And then the last one is a whiskey sea salt.
Oh my
So
gosh.
a little bit of a savory note. I mean, most people, everyone hands down loves this. And then the whole assortment caters to people with a different, flavor palette. So if you're a little more adventurous, you're gonna love the ginger turmeric black pepper. But when I build the assortment, I actually go back to my fashion background. So I have I think of the fashion pyramid.
Oh, yes.
I have my core at the bottom, the whiskey and the dark chocolate.
Yes.
Then I have my core fashion, which is more of the orange with the liqueur notes. And then I have like my fashion at the peak.
Oh, wow.
The ginger turmeric black pepper and hibiscus mint.
For like the really the ones that are, I don't know, they're early adopters. They'll go outside their comfort zone, all of that good stuff.
So all of that training, it's still
there. And even the
play.
names, the branding, the names. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to eat a truffle that's called Goddess? I'm not going to feel guilty about eating that chocolate. And
exactly.
that little hint of pink isn't artificial coloring. It's
real hibiscus powder.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you do tastings.
I
Could
do.
you share that with us? How someone gets a tasting, or what do you have to do to request one?
Oh yeah. So I do chocolate cheese and wine.
Okay.
Is a really popular
Ooh,
one.
wow.
So like I've been in different Santander Bank. I was in their boardroom.
Oh,
I led a
wow.
pairing for that. I do a lot of corporate gifting.
Good.
So a lot of people,
Yes.
ask me to help them out with not just their clients, but also their internal employees. Like, how do I
Nice.
show gratitude, and instead of just, a regular gift card, or
Right.
how do we do something that's more meaningful?
And experiential, right?
Yeah. Also whiskey. So the truffles right now, I'm working with a Michelin chef, Chef Odo.
Wow.
So he has a Japanese Kasaki speakeasy, and he pairs the chocolates back to his whiskeys.
Really?
He has like a private whiskey bar in the back.
Are you serious? How do I get an invitation to that? Oh my
Yes.
God. That's amazing. That's so great. And he's a Michelin chef. So how did you become acquainted with him?
I was going out to dinner with my friend in real estate. We
Okay.
often go to networking events together.
Nice.
She's from Karen. She's from Warburg Realty. I've done events for them too.
Wow.
And we were just getting dinner because the opening of the place
Yes.
it's like a cafe. And we were getting
Okay.
a small dinner.
Yes.
And one of the partners was walking around, and Karen started telling him about my chocolates because she loves them.
Yeah.
And then he gave me his card, and we had a few conversations, and then I met the chef, and he's been challenging me with some interesting flavors too. So there's a shiro miso.
Ooh, what would that taste like?
It's actually really good because it has a
Okay.
little bit of like savory notes to it. It has that inherent kind of salt taste to it.
Yes, yes.
And I was a little afraid putting it in chocolate,
Yes.
but
it works.
It worked out. He challenged me with a gobo, which is a burdock root. It's actually an adaptogen and is really healthy for you.
What does that mean, an adaptogen, so everyone knows?
It helps, it's an herb, this is actually a root too, that really helps to boost your body's natural like immune system so that it, you know, fights stress, it fights inflammation. Ashwagandha, there's a bunch of different adaptogens that are just really good for you. So
I love Japanese culture.
Yeah, I never thought to put it in chocolate, but when I did, and I had to do quite a few rounds of this.
To get it just the right balance.
Right. Yeah, but it really made the chocolate even more decadent and dark, and then if you're, you know, mindful, you taste that little bit of kind of earthy mushroom kind of note at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
These Michelin chefs, they know what they're doing. They're Michelin for a reason.
Right, I know that's like the platinum standard.
I'm learning from him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So just to, you know, really close this out, I just, you know, wanted to hear more about, like, what's your vision for 2020 and where do you see your business going? I've heard you take your background and now it seems like you have a pipeline, you know how to bring the product to market, you're networking through existing contacts, but you're also making new acquaintances. But from there, where do you see your brand going? 2020
is really a great test in wholesale. So the bars are newer. Those are only a year old.
Oh, okay.
And I have a test with Whole Foods coming up this spring.
Congratulations.
Yes.
I'll be thinking of you. That's amazing.
Thank you. So I've been speaking with Marshall Retail Group, Hudson News. So we're still in negotiations, but it's getting more of that awareness on a larger scale. So really scaling up is what 2020 is about.
Really, that's amazing. And so for now, if people wanted to go buy Milene Jardine chocolates, where would they go?
You could definitely go online. You could get the full assortment because the truffles, they're only good for 2 weeks. There's no preservatives in them.
Got it.
So online, or you could visit Chef Odo.
Okay.
He's wonderful. The bars are in select independent retailers.
Oh, wow.
Soho House has them right now.
Oh, Soho House is incredible. It's, you have to be a member. It's a very exclusive place celebrities go to,
It's in their hotel room, so it's in the mini bar.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And again, the retail price on this, just for everyone?
On the website, it's $40.
This is $40.
And the truffle box is $20.
And so they're made to order because they only last 2 weeks, is what you're saying, right?
The truffles,
yes. The truffles, not the bars.
The bars naturally are good for a year because there's no dairy in them.
Okay, okay.
When you throw dairy in, you know, that carton of milk is not supposed to last forever.
That's why, everybody, go vegan, be vegan. You know all my segments, I insert my agenda, but...
That I believe in. I love plant-based food, so.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm so glad that I had you here. It was so wonderful to reconnect. I am so excited to see what 2020 holds for you. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Celebrity Catwalk. I hope Milene Jardine inspired you. If there's a passion you've always had, that you wanted to take a risk and do something for yourself and launch your own business, you need to be strategic about it. But as Milene said, there's a lot of resources out there, and find people that you can collaborate with that can help you bring those dreams and make them a reality. For Celebrity Catwalk, I'm Stephanie Mattera. We'll catch you next time.